Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is February the 13th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Work went pretty well, more or less just kind of felt like a hangout, but there was cardboard crushing involved. But yeah, let's see, a little bit of a food corner. What did we eat? I have to ponder. I can't quite. Oh, I remember, of course. Beef and rice bowl. It was very yummy. I didn't do anything weird or crazy this time. No scrans, no modifications or add-ons. But yeah, it was good. I will say a problem I've had today, a little bit of a physical health corner. I don't know. I've like had like I hate when this happens, right? Because especially when you're north of 30, you just start thinking like, oh, if there's something a little bit askew with me, I'm dying. Like that's what's happening. This is the end of days for me. Count it up. So I've had this like tightness or soreness in my like chest area. And it is especially concerning to me sometimes when I think about it too long. Is it's on like my left side, so I'm like, oh shit, I'm queuing up for a stroke. Like I literally have to like, hey man, don't WebMD yourself like that. Don't do that. Just relax. It's okay. Because I know that sometimes I can like pull something or stretch something a little weird, either from working out or just lifting cardboard like a dummy. Because sometimes I'll be like, oh, I can just lift all of this. And then it's like, oh, okay. I kind of maybe hurt myself a little. That can happen. I don't know. Like I said, I'm north of 30. I'm like a banana. I bruise and break easy. So, concerning, but I think I'm okay. I took a few Advil, and then that seemed to do something. And maybe it's just wearing off a little. I'm sure a little rest will do me good. But yeah, I mean there's that happened, or is happening. Let's see here. Enough about that. Enough about me. Let me go ahead and take my startup, and then we'll get into some news. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that was the good stuff. Okay. Our first story comes from Al Jazeera. Ukraine protests destruction of grain exports by Polish farmers. Ukraine has condemned what it called the destruction of its grain by protesting Polish farmers amid a long-running spat over imports of cheap grain. The agriculture ministry said on Monday, said Kyiv strongly condemns the deliberate destruction of Ukrainian grain by Polish protesters. Kyiv's anger follows in the emergence of images and videos online showing demonstrators on the border between Ukraine and Poland dumping grain from trucks onto the road in a show of protest. I gotta say, it definitely seems like this is the year of the like punk rock farmer, yo. I don't know, like they are out here, they are bringing their tractors, they are doing blockades, they are surrounding cities from like all over Europe. I mean, and then we got another one coming up. I'm about to talk about in India. Like they are rallying, they are shucking it out in the streets, bruv. I mean, I gotta say, I'm happy to see it. I will say, at least in the situation with Poland, I don't know if like the right are kind of stoking this kind of situation or not. But extremism or not, I think that like I understand where these people are coming from. I understand why they are upset. Like in the situation, they are trying to make as much as they can to make a living, and you see the situation where Ukraine has like special tariff exemptions that they shouldn't have because technically they're not a part of the bloc, the EU bloc. So that has kind of like led to rising tensions because once again, as money gets tighter and tighter and tighter, as like inflation and all the economic woes that not just Americans are suffering from, but all over the world, people are saying, look, I have to make this fucking count. Like, this is my whole harvest. I've said this before. It's like, we are feeding people and we can't even feed ourselves. Like, that's something that is going to drive you to the streets in anger. With some pretty creative displays. And that's why I say, man, I think it's kind of stupid that you're doing something like a demonstration where you're literally wasting grain. Call me a fat boy, but it's like, why are you doing that? That's perfectly good future bread. Like, why would you do this? So yeah, I mean, boo to that, tomatoes to that, but I respect the energy. And, I hope that it does lead to some yields. I know in Germany, I forgot to talk about this, kind of fell through the cracks, but I think Germany kind of relented a bit and they did like a pesticide thing. They took that off of a bill or something like that. So, I got a burp coming. So yeah, there you go. A little bit of overwhelming news there. I've shoved that in there, a little old news. Let's move on to the next bump. Like I said, it's still farming related, but let's move on to India. From BBC, India farmers protest. Tear gas fired as thousands march on Fortress Delhi. Which this is a different tinge, a different energy, because you definitely see that, like, Indian government, Indian law enforcement definitely taking a much harder, like, we are going to hit you guys for doing this shit, for coming out and having this protest. Police in northern India have fired tear gas to prevent thousands of protesting farmers demanding minimum crop prices from marching on Delhi. The capital is ringed by razor wire, cement blocks, and fencing on three sides to keep protests at bay. The government fears a repeat of 2020. Dozens died in a year-long protest that ended only after ministers agreed to repeal the controversial agricultural laws. But just over 2 years later, farmers say other demands have not been met. India's farmers form an influential voting bloc, and analysts say the government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be keen not to alienate them. His Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP, is seeking a third consecutive term in power in general elections this year. Pictures on Tuesday showed thick clouds of tear gas being used to disperse protesters near the city of Ambala, about 200 kilometers or 125 miles north of the capital. Police also fired tear gas, as they did on Monday at the Shambhu border between Haryana and Punjab states. Drones flew continuously over the crowd and dropped tear gas on people. See, this is dystopian shit that really fucking, like, irks me and makes me scared, is like the arming of drones. You know what I mean? Like, and I think obviously, like, the point blank, you think about the, like, oh, let's put a fucking, like, automatic weapon on them, and that's scary. That's fucking some RoboCop, dystopian shit that I don't want to fucking live in. But then just like the ingenuity, of course, they're going to be like, we can just put any arms that we want on here. I haven't heard of this yet, but they could put rubber bullets on that motherfucking thing, and that shit's just shooting from all angles, 360. Naturally, they have them now doing the tear gas shit. It's a lot. It's very overwhelming, and in this situation, the farmers are fighting back with literally clothes and wet sacks, like filled with stuff. You know what I mean? That's crazy. Like, they're doing the best they can to just literally stay alive in this kind of situation, make sure that they're not getting hurt. And I know it's like, well, what, over literally some grain, over some fucking farm, over some agriculture. But once again, this is your way of life, and you cannot afford to do this for less. You know what I mean? You're not fucking around here. I don't know. Maybe you tell me if you had a different interpretation or impression. But I think me growing up, I used to think like, well, yeah, if you're doing a farm, like if you're working on a farm, you're a farmer, you gotta be making some good pay, right? Because of just the fact that this is some stuff that people need. This goes on people's tables every day, like, and not to mention the amount of work. You were working, like, I think in some situations, pretty much 7 days a week if you don't have the proper amount of staff. You know what I mean? If this is some family run own shit, you know what I mean? I don't know. like it's crazy that we are living in times that we can't afford to pay people like this, but we've always been like this, it seems. You know what I mean? Where it's like, yeah, doctors get a lot of money and all that, but they got to pay all these fucking school loans and all this fucking other shit. You know what I mean? And then you think about farmers, shit. And I mean, I'm not the biggest fucking fan of law enforcement, but think about that. You're putting your life on the line and you can't afford, once again, to feed your goddamn family. Are you that surprised that, like, law enforcement is a highly corrupt business? And I mean, you could go down the professional line. And I know I'm in the weeds here. We're talking about farming and now I'm just talking about jobs in general. But, I mean, yeah, man, this shit fucking sucks. And I hate to see, India's government handle things the way that they handle it. But when you have the numbers, when you have this kind of power, that's what they're gonna fucking do, I guess. And it seems that in spite of this, most likely Narendra Modi is going to get another term, a third term. So many goddamn elections this year. So many. We're about to cover, I think, another one tomorrow. I'll keep you posted on that New York shit. But we'll see. We'll see who might be the heir to George Santos. But I'll tell you, they're both fucking losers. But anyway, let's move on to some other shit. I don't want to talk about politics. Let's talk about lawsuits. From Uproxx. Amazon has been hit with a class action lawsuit for charging Prime subscribers extra to skip ads. So this is a bit of an update. Peep this. I said, hey, let's go ahead and let's talk about it. The rollout from streaming ads on Amazon Prime Video could be going better. The retail giant is already facing a class action lawsuit over the new ad-free tier that was introduced to Prime Video users on January 29th. Historically, a subscription to Prime granted you full access to Amazon's library with no commercial interruptions. However, Amazon made the decision to bring streaming ads into the equation, but promised not to raise the price of a Prime subscription in the process. While this is technically true, users now had to pay an additional $2.99 a month if they wanted to avoid new ads. The change came as quite a surprise to Prime users who were locked into yearly plans and now find their programs littered with ads. Cue the lawyers. The class action lawsuit is reportedly seeking $5 million in damages and a court order barring Amazon from engaging in further deceptive conduct on behalf of users who subscribed on Prime prior to December 28th, 2023. So I will definitely keep you posted on this. I said my 2 cents on how I felt about it. I think price point wise, where we're at, you compare the Amazon Prime, because you can get it without the all the other shit. You can just subscribe to the Prime Video. I think it's about like $9 or whatever. Like, stack that up to like Netflix or Hulu. It's not too bad in my opinion. But it's still more money, and I think it is in a lot of ways a breach of trust, a breach of contract. So, sadly, the way, especially America, the way the world works is you don't really get anything done unless you're putting a dollar amount to it, and that's why so many things wind up in court with the fucking lawsuit. So, power to the people, however you can fucking get it, I say. Whether it be on the streets, whether it be in the goddamn courtroom, get your fucking shit. Get your fucking bag if you gotta, you know what I mean? Because no one wants to get fucking rolled on ads. I think everyone fucking hates it. Especially, like, nowadays, I feel like, I don't know, call me corny, call me lame as fuck, but there are ads that, if they're good enough, like, if you're giving me Budweiser, what's up? Then, like, okay, like, I'll giggle, I'll laugh, like, I'll enjoy that. I'll yap about that to my friends. Like, if it's a good enough fucking ad, if you're giving me Mad Men goddamn material, then all right, you can give me a couple. But, like, at the end of the day, ads are just schlock. They're just, like, made to say, hey, look at the product, buy. So they don't really care. There's not a lot of finesse or art these days, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And I didn't watch the Super Bowl for real. I just kind of, used a little Google ticker, kind of keep up with it. But I don't know. I didn't really hear about too many ads. The Sarah V one, though, the Michael Cera one, that was pretty good. That was funny. But yeah, I don't know. Sound off in the chats or, hit me up. Let me know if there was a good one. Send me some links. I did also watch the Dunkin' Donuts one with Ben Affleck. That was okay. I like J-Lo. I like seeing J-Lo. And Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are always, like, cool to do stuff together. Like, awesome. All right, we got one more thing to cover before I let you go. So you know what that means. It's break time. I'm taking my break. and then we'll get into it. Ooh. I feel like this is loosening me up. I feel like this is good. It's good for the goose and the gander. Ooh. Also, I should probably stretch more. I feel like that's something I'm lacking, you know? But hey, I'm only human. I make mistakes. I bleed. I don't know. I'm bullshitting. I'm sorry. From ESPN. Police make arrest and theft. Destruction of Jackie Robinson statue. The Wichita, Kansas Police Department on Tuesday said an arrest has been made nearly 3 weeks after a Jackie Robinson statue was stolen from a park and subsequently found dismantled days later. Ricky Alderette, or Alderetti, I'm not sure, 45, is charged with felony theft, value over $25,000, aggravated criminal damage to property, identity theft, and making false information. The statue, which police said was valued at $75,000, was stolen from McAdams Park, the home of League 42, a youth baseball league for about 600 children that commissioned and erected the statue in 2021. I believe I last reported that they had said that to replace the statue would be about $100,000, $125,000, something like that. When I had last reported, they were at about $150,000. It looks like now they've raised about $300,000, so that's fucking great. So let's fucking go for that. Donations poured in, approaching $300,000. Though the artist has died, the original mold of the statue exists and will be used by Art Castings of Colorado to rebuild a new one. So hell yeah, let's go for that. Clap it up for that. There is a potential. There's a chance that Alderetti wasn't the only one involved. Oops, sorry, hit the thing. And also, it's not established if this was a hate crime or not. It definitely is kind of looking like this was a financial thing. They're like, hey, we're trying to make some money moves here. Let's just chop this thing off of the ankles. Let's just fucking get it melted down, and then we can move on with our lives. But that's a crazy weird attempt. And just like, yeah, Jackie Robinson. Yeah, let's just get him. Whatever, you know. Anyway, friends, once again, right before Black History Month. That's whew. We know it's like you almost want to say like this is like 1 + 1 = a hate crime. You know what I mean? But I know y'all know me. I don't really want to like get in the fucking legal system involved and just burying people alive. It really doesn't do the world any goddamn good. Let's see. We know from the surveillance video released shortly after the statue was reported missing on January 25th that there were at least 3 individuals there when the statue was taken. And we know it was taken somewhere where other individuals were present. So essentially it's like this person didn't have any accomplices, or there was someone who like knowingly like is going to be benefiting off of the theft of the statue. So, you know, we'll see. You know, I'll definitely keep you posted, but hey, at least there's I guess a sense of justice here in an ending. But really, the best part is that the people came together, organizations came together, and made sure that this park was going to be made whole and the statue was going to get put up. I mean, at the end of the day, they were still going to do, I think it's like, excuse me, it's about 600 people, 600 kids that get to go to this program, play baseball. It's like youth help and stuff like that. At the end of the day, they were going to keep rocking and keep rolling. It doesn't make a much of a difference. It's just a goddamn statue. Whether we're talking about the racist bullshit or we're talking about the cool shit like this, it's just a goddamn statue. It's just a hunk of goddamn metal. I don't care whether it stays, it goes, it's up or down, whatever. Whatever. It's just cool that people rallied together and made it happen. And this is going to go to the statue. It's going to go to this organization. And once again, it's going to help the kids. I mean, at least I fucking hope. You know what I mean? God damn it. I would hate for this to be like a Brett Favre scam. You know what I mean? Ugh. Anyway, that's an old story from another time. Anyway, That's the episode. If you'd like to help out, if you'd like to support this, what I'm doing, I have a Patreon. Patreon.com. So Isaiah News. You can become a newsie today. I shout you out at the top of the month. Plug your name. Plug project if you'd like. Free ways to hit me up. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Hopefully you're following on whatever listening platform you're, listening to me on right now. Especially helps if you're subscribed to the YouTube. Hit that like button, leave a cool comment, share. I appreciate even just mentioning this shit. I literally giggle, kick my feet up, I blush. Like, what? Talking about my podcast on the streets? You're talking about me on the internet? Oh my gosh. So it means a lot. Thank you so much. Heart emojis to you. But yeah, I mean, literally just hanging out and listening. I can't tell you what joy it brings me to know that people have started their day to what I do, have listened to me on the way to home from work, just whatever. Like, I literally could cry just for that. I'm not though. I'm good. I'm strong tonight. But it really does mean a lot. It's not for nothing. I really do love you guys. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.